If you struggle with correctly implementing the API calls in Spring Boot, this video is for you. Spring Boot changed a lot since the release of the major version 3, and today I want to show you the modern way of calling the external APIs. First of all, I will show the old way of doing things. For the purpose of this video, we are gonna use the JSON placeholder API as our example, and here we get a list of to-dos with user ID, title, and the completed status. I also prepared a simple record to represent this to-do, and also a controller that returns the list of to-dos for the specified user ID and the completion status. I also have already done the old way of implementing service for this use case. And here we get the REST template. Also, we parse the parameters to long and to boolean, and then we just call the get for the API using the REST template. Then we check if the to-dos are null. If yes, we return empty list. Actually, we should return here some exception, but for the purpose of this video, I will just return empty list, because I think in this example, if the to-dos will be null, that would mean that the data from the API would be malformed somehow. But that doesn't matter for the purpose of this video, so let's ignore that. And then we just filter out all of the to-dos that are not for our user and are not the completed status that we specified. And then we just return a list of these to-dos. Of course, JSON placeholder API would do that for us if we called the correct endpoint, but I want to do this in the service so we see what is going on. Okay, if we go to, if we run our application and go to the localhost API to-dos, ID 1 and false, we get everything. So it seems that everything is working fine, and it is because, of course, everything is correct here. So what actually is wrong here then? First of all, we are using the REST template. And since the version 3 on Spring Boot, it's in the maintenance mode and is not recommended for new applications. And the modern way and recommended way to call external APIs is the Spring REST client. It is also a blocking client, so it's not like you can use it concurrently, just like the REST template, but it has a lot more cleaner syntax, is more powerful and easier to use. You can think of it as a spiritual successor to the REST template, but with modern API. Let me show you then how to modernize this service. First of all, we will delete this old API URL, this REST template, and I will create a field final REST client, okay. We also have to import this. Okay. Now I will create a public to-do service. Okay. And instead of importing a REST client, I will import here, provide here a builder for the REST client, because REST client is being managed by the Spring framework. We don't create it using the new keyword, but actually we do it using the builder. But instead of just building it instantly, I will also provide base URL here. And the base URL would be HTTPS, okay, not localhost, but JSON placeholder. Okay, and now we have our REST client. And also I will replace this part with the modern syntax. So REST client, we're calling the get method. So get URI, so the would be to-dos. Okay. We want to retrieve the data, and the body should be of type to-do array and class. Okay. And now we get our modern syntax for our method. Okay, let's rerun our application. and let's see if it will be working. Refresh, and it still works. We can see that everything works fine. We can, for example, now change it to true. It still works. There's no reason for it to not be working. We can call different ID for the user, example 9, okay, and maybe 11 because 11 doesn't exist. Let's see how it will look like, and it's a empty array. Okay, as we can see, everything works fine. This is the new way you should use to call external APIs in the Spring Boot. I greatly recommend you to check out the documentation for the RestClient. Also, there is a non-blocking alternative web client, but it's a topic for another video. It's a much more complicated way of doing things, but it's better for more complicated use cases. If you are serious about learning Spring Boot, check out the top link in the description for our community. Here is my next video you should watch. Until next time, create some amazing applications.